Welcome to Pax Europiana here from the Schwarzenberg Platz, the future NATO Square. It should no longer be the Soviet Square, but the NATO Square here in Vienna, because it's NATO that keeps us free, and Austria should also join that great alliance of the free Europe. And it's a wonderful alliance and we should be part of it. And Austria was for too long somewhere on the sidelines and a neutral bridge to Russia and to authoritarian dictatorships. And that must be over now. We should be part of the same alliance like Italy, like Germany, like Hungary, like Slovakia and Czech Republic and all the other now 32 countries, and all those who dream of a somehow European defense union after Sweden and Finland have joined NATO as well now, and America has signed and ratified. I think it's very clear that the future of our defense organization, as the past actually since 49, and ultimately the freedom relies on America since 1917 when they joined on the side of the free democracies the First World War, and then they failed in the interwar years, and then there was a whole disaster. It led to the Second World War, and they have made the right conclusions that they need to be permanently engaged into European peace, and that was the reason why they have created a lot of organizations. NATO is just the most important one of them, but also the UN, also the OECD, and also the GATT and many other organizations, the Council of Europe. But NATO was ultimately the one security provider to keep Europe then free from the Soviet takeover threat, and that was very real and also protected us for all the major crises of the Cold War. And no, it was not equidistance which was important. We were part of the West, also in Austria, but of course we were not formally, because the Soviets didn't even allow us to join the EU, predecessor organizations, until the Soviets fell, and then we could join the EU in 95. And now the two countries with which together we joined the EU, Sweden and Finland, have joined NATO, and we are left alone outside because people like Wolfgang Schüssel and others and Leitl, they have sold us out to the Russians. Here was the headquarters of Lukoil, that's the Federation of Industry, and this is basically the square. That's the French, who have also a dubious role in that. But in fact, what they all have done is they made lucrative deals with Russian energy, and then they were selling out our security interests. And then the normal people were told that for neutrality reasons, yeah, sure, it was never about neutrality, it was only necessary, and it was then a very good cover for the 26 billion of US dollars money laundering and much more, and many other aspects between Russia and Austria in this theft of the century. Basically the biggest one was the Russian Revolution, but then came the second one. It was the theft of the century, the Putin's takeover of Russia, and he was buying a lot of people into believing him. Yes, and that's for history, but the future now is the NATO integration of Malta, Cyprus, Ireland and Austria. So then the EU can join NATO, and we can all be safer, and we can support Ukraine's victory much more effectively. There's a lot of wind here. Nobody was. Yes, and for this one, it's very important to understand. We have here the Soviet victory monument, and it's of course outrageous. The Soviets themselves built it, and in Austria nobody wanted that. But obviously what is necessary is to remake it into the NATO victory monument, and also to build a big monument against the crime of Hitler-Stalin Pact, and then also to make sure that we have here's a lot of space, so it can be big monument of Roosevelt and Churchill. That would be very good, and that's very important to make it very clear that we should join NATO. That's our future, and I'm actually confident we will join NATO, and I'm absolutely sure that also Malta, Cyprus and Ireland will join. We can join demilitarized because we never win any wars anyhow, and we are not an important contribution to European defense in any meaningful fiscal or manpower or industrial capacity, but at least the geography is important because of the Brenner Pass, and at least we could no longer hide ourselves in this kind of neutrality narrative and abuse the EU membership to make everything more complicated in EU-NATO terms. Yeah? Yes, that's very important actually. And also not serve as a bad role model. Yes. Nicht, noch nicht, but it will come. It will come. It will come. Sure. Das geht, yeah. It will be. Huh? People are already complaining or supporting. Anyhow, Austria will join NATO and it will be wonderful in NATO. Thanks a lot. It's very nice to discuss this, and I will continue that on this beautiful day. And thanks a lot. And more to come from Pax Europiana. Bye.